A market analyst just published a brutal breakdown of exactly why SHIB is completely stuck. 3 reasons, no sugarcoating, and every SHIB holder needs to read this before the week gets any older. What is happening and what on earth am I even talking about? Well, let me explain. This content is provided for informational purposes only and should not be considered financial advice. Market conditions can change over time. An analysis published on April 15th, 2026 just took the gloves off on Shiba Inu's current stagnation and laid out the specific structural problems holding this token in place right now. It is not a casual opinion piece. It is a clinical dissection of what has gone wrong with SHIB's market positioning and what it would actually take to fix it. If you have been watching SHIB sit in a narrow range for weeks wondering why nothing is moving, this analysis is the answer you have been looking for. Now, here is where it gets interesting. Look at the SHIB chart right now. According to market data, the price is sitting at approximately 597 units, locked inside an extremely tight range between 580 and 600 units that has barely moved in any meaningful direction since mid-March. Market observers describe this current state as textbook stagnation following a protracted and grinding downtrend that wore down both price and sentiment. All of the major moving averages on the chart are compressing simultaneously into a flat and directionless formation, showing no slope in either direction. There are no meaningful breakout attempts visible anywhere on the chart across any of the relevant timeframes. Volume is thin and shrinking, candles are narrow, and any price movement that does attempt to develop is absorbed almost immediately by the order flow sitting on the other side, meaning neither buyers nor sellers are willing to commit capital to a directional trade. The chart is coiling from inactivity rather than from the kind of compressed strength that typically precedes a significant move. And that distinction matters enormously for understanding what happens next. And here is the first reason the analysis identifies as the core problem. The narrative behind the token is dangerously weak right now. According to reports, hype has always been the primary fuel source that drives Shiba Inu price moves throughout every cycle this token has ever experienced. Attention, viral social momentum. Retail participation flooding in behind a compelling and emotionally resonant story. At this specific moment in April 2026, analysts note the SHIB story is largely absent from the broader market conversation. Retail investor attention has rotated decisively away from the meme coin sector toward other emerging narratives. AI tokens are capturing the speculative energy that community-driven meme coins commanded in prior bull cycles. DeFi infrastructure plays are absorbing capital that once flowed aggressively into high beta tokens. Tokenized real-world asset discussions have consumed the institutional attention that previously fueled meme coin liquidity cycles. According to reports, whether the fix eventually comes through renewed social momentum, a significant new listing, or a genuine breakthrough in the Shibarium ecosystem, SHIB requires a completely revitalized narrative cycle to attract the kind of broad attention that historically brings liquidity rushing back. Liquidity does not return to an asset that nobody is actively discussing. And right now, the conversation around SHIB has contracted to a fraction of what it was during its most explosive phases. But here's the kicker. Even if the narrative were to improve starting tomorrow, the second structural problem identified in the analysis would still need to be independently resolved. According to reports, the market currently carries very little liquid depth available to support any SHIB price movement of significance. This is directly visible on the chart through the combination of low volume readings, extremely narrow candle ranges, and the rapid absorption of any price movement that manages to develop briefly. Price trends of meaningful magnitude are structurally impossible in a low liquidity environment. For a token to move directionally with sustained momentum and conviction, there needs to be enough active capital in the order books to carry that momentum forward rather than immediately neutralize it. Industry watchers note the solution is not something SHIB can engineer internally through its own ecosystem actions. The necessary movement would be unlocked by a macro liquidity event. Either a definitive Bitcoin breakout above key resistance that pulls capital across the entire altcoin market, or a general rotation of fresh inflows returning to the altcoin sector as a category. Here's the crucial insight from the analysis. SHIB does not need to lead that liquidity event. It simply needs the broader market money to find its way back into altcoins as an asset class. When that structural shift occurs, SHIB will be positioned to benefit from the resulting inflow. But until it does, the liquidity constraint keeps any directional price story from developing. Now, here is the third reason identified in the analysis, and it is the deepest and most structurally complex challenge of the three. According to reports, SHIB carries a long-term value proposition problem that sits at the uncomfortable intersection of two competing market identities. On one hand, it is no longer a pure meme coin in the simple way it existed during the 2021 price explosion. The community has built Shibarium as a live layer 2 network, developed the burn mechanism, launched the Doggy DAO governance framework, and created a genuine ecosystem with real technical infrastructure. But on the other hand, it has also not yet fully evolved into a powerful, utility-driven asset generating sustained organic demand through provable real-world adoption at scale. Analysts note, SHIB sits in an uncomfortable middle ground between these two identities. It has grown beyond the pure speculative meme category, but has not yet established itself in the utility category with the adoption metrics that convert skeptical investors into committed holders. Meme coin speculators have moved on to newer tokens carrying the kind of early-stage excitement SHIB no longer offers. Utility-focused investors have not yet found enough verifiable evidence of ecosystem adoption to justify meaningful positions. The solution, according to recent analysis, requires a definitive directional choice. SHIB either proves real use through measurable Shibarium growth, accelerating burn rates, and verifiable on-chain adoption data that can attract conviction buyers, or it commits fully to its high beta speculative identity and positions for the next meme. Cycle with renewed community momentum. As of April 15th, 2026, it is not performing convincingly as either category. That ambiguity is costing it the engagement and capital of both potential audiences simultaneously. Until the market sees a clear commitment to one path or the other, the positioning hesitation from both speculative and utility-focused investors is likely to persist. And here is the counterpoint that the community holds onto through this kind of analysis. The exact conditions being described right now, compressed price, evaporated liquidity, faded narrative, and uncertain utility positioning, are not unique to SHIB in April 2026. These are precisely the conditions that have appeared and been described in negative terms immediately before every meaningful meme coin revival this market has ever witnessed. According to community sources, the lowest points of visible attention and measurable liquidity are structurally the exact moments when the next cycle's entry positions are being quietly assembled by investors willing to pay attention while the majority has looked away. According to market data, Shibarium is still operational. The burn mechanism is still running. Over 1.5 million wallets still hold SHIB across the global market. The Doggy DAO remains active. The infrastructure built during the years of work since 2021 has not disappeared. What has temporarily retreated is the narrative energy that historically sends price discovery sharply upward. And narrative energy, unlike liquidity or fundamental utility, has a documented tendency to return to assets like this suddenly, dramatically, and without any advance warning that would give a late entry enough time to build a meaningful position at favorable prices. The community that remains attentive and positioned through these quiet periods has historically been the community that benefits most when the next cycle begins. Drop your honest assessment in the comments below. Do you think the three structural problems identified in this analysis can be resolved before the end of 2026? Or do you see the current stagnation as the beginning of a longer and deeper decline for SHIB? Click on one of the videos on screen right now because the next SHIB update is developing. Turn on the notifications bell because the one piece of news that shifts the entire SHIB narrative could arrive on any given day without warning. And share this video with every SHIB holder you know, because this is exactly the conversation the community needs to be having openly and honestly right now.